Hi everyone, this is Smriti. Welcome to QA automation classes. So today is the second class for the BDD framework design, and today we are going to understand what are the different BDD tools are available in the market, and what is the tool and the tech stack we are going to cover. And we'll start to the Gherkin. Okay. So what is the introduction to the Gherkin and what are the different keywords are available in the Gherkin, and we'll see some examples also. Okay. So without delaying, let's start. Okay. So if I go to my whiteboard, okay, so if you see there are two most widely used the tools are available in Cucumber in BDD. One is the Cucumber, their binding language will be Java. Another one is the SpecFlow, the binding language is the C#. Okay, and out of two, Cucumber Java is most widely used. Okay, and that's why we're going to learn Cucumber with the Java. Okay, and if you will say the tools, right, we're going to use the Selenium, Cucumber, Maven. Extend report will generate, and we'll have the Cucumber runner, and we'll be using the log4j as well, right? And let's understand what exactly is the Gherkin, right? So the Cucumber uses a plain English like language that is called as the Gherkin. Okay, so what is Gherkin? Okay, so Gherkin is a language, right? And it is mostly in the plain simple English like statement. Okay, that is known as the Gherkin language. So Gherkin document is also known as the feature file, and it will have a name followed by the dot feature extension. So in the Gherkin, we write the features, right? So how exactly we write the features? So when we write the features, we have to give the name. Let's say login feature we're writing. So we'll say login, okay, dot feature. So the extension should be feature dot feature. Okay, this is important to remember. The extension will always be dot feature, and each line in a Gherkin document starts with one Gherkin keywords. We'll be seeing what are those Gherkin keywords shortly. Okay, and we only have the single line comments that are allowed in the feature file, and to comment a particular line in the Gherkin we can use a symbol called as the hash. We don't have a block comment as of now, and we can use the indentation. Okay, so indentation can be supported by a tab or two spaces. Okay, so let's understand what are the different keywords are available in the Gherkin. Okay, so let's say keywords. Okay, so what are the different keywords are available in the Gherkin? Let me change the color. Okay, let's start. So there are different keywords are available in the Gherkin. One, you can say alphabetic keywords, and as well as the symbolic keywords. Okay, so first keyword is I can say here first one will be uh, feature. Okay, so feature is one of the keyword in the Gherkin language, and then we have second will be rule. Okay, so rule, and third will be your example or scenario, right? We can say this is example, or you can say scenario. Okay, scenario, and the fourth one, okay, example or scenario, and the fourth one will be your given. Okay, so given, and then we have when. Okay, given, when, then. Okay, so given, when, then. After that we can have more keywords. We have more keywords like and but also there. Okay, and after that we have background. Okay, so background. Okay, 9 and 10 will be your scenario outline. Okay, so we'll understand all of them in great detail. I'm just listing them out here. Scenario outline. Okay, so basically these 10 keywords, these are alphabetic keywords. Okay, so apart from alphabetic keywords, also we have some symbolic keywords, right? So symbolic keywords, you can say, let me change the color over here. Okay, and then symbolic keywords, let's say. Okay, so triple quotes. Okay, so this triple quote is known as the doc string. Okay, so what is drawstring we'll come to know later. And then we have this pipe symbol. This pipe symbol stands for the data tables. Okay, this is used in conjunction with the data tables. And then we have at the rate. So this is nothing but the tags. We'll be using tags with the help of at the rate. And similarly, as I told you earlier, hash is used for the comment. Okay, So these are nothing but the all keywords those are available. Okay, so these are alphabetic keywords, 10 alphabetic keywords, and these are symbolic keywords. Okay, so let's understand the feature. Okay, so first keyword feature. Okay, so let's say feature. So what exactly is this feature, right? So the feature describes the application feature, and it can have one or more scenarios belonging to the same feature, right? And this is the first keyword in any Gherkin document or the feature file. And feature keyword should always be followed by a colon. Okay, so you see I have given one colon over here, right? The feature keyword should always have this colon, and then we can give a short description of the feature, right? After that, in the next line, we can give a very brief description. That is optional, right? If you want to give, you can give, right? And these description files will be definitely be ignored by the cucumber at the runtime. Okay, these are treated like the comments only, right? And it actually allows the users to capture the acceptance criteria for the business rules and are available during the reporting, right? So a sample example will be, let's say this is feature, right? I'll say feature is our user. Let's say the feature is user login. Okay, let's say feature is user login. Let me delete this one. Okay, so now feature is, let's say, user login. Okay, so this is one of the feature. Okay, so now what, how exactly you will achieve this one, how exactly you will define, right? So what exactly this user login do, you have to describe that one. So let's say the user login feature, it describes how a user with the valid credential they can log into the system, right? So user have to enter the valid credential, and then after entering the username and password which should be valid, then user can click on the login button, right? So after clicking on the login button, the user should get authenticated and it should go to the respective home page, right? So the feature section should end with another keyword start. Okay, so whenever we are starting any of the another keyword, then this feature section is going to end, right? So out of this, if any other keyword comes, that means we come to know that feature section is over now, right? And we can use the tags placed above the feature for the grouping them. We should have one feature file in one, we should have only one feature in a dot feature file, right? And then understand example or the scenario, right? So we can write example or we can write scenario as well, right? So example or the scenario, let's understand the second one, example or scenario. Okay, so the example or the scenario, they describes a rule through the list of the steps, right? So to define the example or scenario, there are multiple steps are required, right? So each example or scenario is going to get executed as a single test, right? So in order to write one example or scenario, we can use few other keywords like given, when, then, right? So given will give the initial context, right? So given user is on the login page, right? And when should describe an event or the action, right? So like when user enters a valid username and valid password and click on sign in, so that is one action, right? That describes an event or the action. And there is one more is called as the then is nothing but your expected outcome. Okay, so you should have given, when, and then three things inside the scenarios. Okay, so let's understand one simple example of the scenario or the example. Okay, so I can show you, I have already taken the note. And yeah, so QA automation classes dot blogspot, if you go here and okay, so you can see the first one is the introduction to the Gherkin. So if you open this one, these are the theory what I just completed just now. And if you go here and see, right? So let me expand this one. So now if you see here, right? So feature or login, right? So here the feature is the login feature where creating feature login and example. This can be either you can mention example or you can mention scenario, right? So example is the login with the valid credential. This is our one of the scenario or example. Okay. So let's go with scenario only, that is better. So this entire thing is going inside this feature. This entire scenario or the example is going to be get executed as one test. Okay. So given the precondition, right? So user navigates to application www.xyz.com. So user goes to this site And when in the login page user enters the valid username as Q automation classes, this is the username, and password as the classes, this is the password, right? So let's understand the we saw the example. Similarly, we have a scenario also, right? The same thing. Feature is the login feature. Scenario: login with the valid credentials. Given user navigates to the application xyz.com, when in login page user enters valid username as keyword option classes and password as the classes, and the user clicks on the login button, right? Then login should be successful. So basically you just replace scenario with the example keyword. You can write either example over there or you can write scenario over there. So this entire scenario section, right, the starting from the scenario to the then, right? So this is nothing but the, if you see, they will be treated as one test case, okay? And here you have to understand the indentation, right? So whenever you are writing your feature file, make sure you properly indent them, right? So feature is at the parent level, right? So this is the feature, if you can see, right? And then give two spaces or one tab, and then comes the scenario, right? So scenario is the child of the feature. So in the scenario you write whatever the scenario you are going to automate, and then inside the scenario you have to define the scenario. How you define the scenario? You define the scenario with the help of given, when, and, but, then, right? Other keywords. So then these will be the child of the scenario. So here also give one tab or two spaces, okay, and write properly, right? So indentation is also matters because it increases your readability, okay? So this is how you define your example or scenarios, right? So okay, so let's understand a little bit more how exactly the test execution happens in this case, right? So each step, right? We have started with the given, when, then, and, but, right? Those things are there. Those are the keywords, and the steps those are mentioned in an example is executed in the order they are mentioned, right? So it's not like the first when is going to get executed and then is going to get executed. No, this is not going to happen, right? So what is going to happen? So first scenario anyhow it will be ignored from given the execution starts, right? So given user navigates to the application xyz.com, so first the whatever the code you have written for this statement that will get executed, and second is the when in the login page user enters the valid username, key automation classes and password as classes, so this second line is going to get executed, and then user has to click on the login button. That third statement will be get executed, and then the last one, the login should be successful, right? So this is the last statement that is going to get executed, right? So the always the execution is sequential, right? So from top to bottom it will get executed, okay? Hope it is clear, right? So steps mentioned in the examples is executed in the order they are mentioned. That is important, right? So for each step, corresponding step definition should be present, right? We cannot have the same step definition with the different keyword in an example, okay? So if you see the screenshot, right? So I'll show you one more, the third screenshot, okay? So if you go here, okay, so here let's understand what is wrong with this one, right? So given is perfect, user navigates to the application. When is also perfect, user enters the valid username and valid password, and is also perfect, user clicks on the login button, right? So then login should be successful, but login should be successful, or and login should be successful, right? It is wrong actually. Why it is wrong? Because you cannot have the same two lines with the different keywords, right? So here you can write then login should be successful. You can say and home page should be displayed, something. You cannot duplicate the lines, right? Now you leave these keywords, you concentrate on the lines, whatever is written, that exact step is written. You cannot have the duplicate step inside one feature, right? So that is the key takeaway over here. So you cannot have the same lines written with the different keywords, okay? So hope you guys are following it, right? So now let's understand the rule, okay? I told you we also have one thing called as the rule, right? What exactly is that rule? Okay, so the rule, it represents one business rule that is going to get implemented. It provides the additional information for the feature. So if there are any additional information for the feature, we can have it with the help of the rule, right? So we can have the multiple scenario that belongs to the rule, okay? Two or more scenario or example can specify the same rule also, okay? So let's see a simple example. If we go to the next screenshot, okay, I have rule example over here, right? Okay, so let me expand it. Fourth one, okay, yeah. So feature is login rule, only valid credentials are allowed, okay? and log in with the valid credential, and again those steps are there, right? Then again one more is there. Okay, so if you see the rule, here we're saying only valid credentials are allowed, right? So scenario, login with the valid credential, given user navigates to the application www.xyz.com. When in the login page, user enters the valid username. So this is a valid login example, right? Or the scenario, and we are saying only valid credentials are allowed. So we are only giving the valid credential. So valid credential username is QA automation classes, and password is the classes. And then user clicks on the login button, then login should be successful. Okay, so this is the example of a rule. So rule will kind of give you the extra documentation, right? Or it will enforce, right? It will enforce like or the additional information to the feature, right? It will enforce you to write that proper condition, right? So now I'm saying only valid credential. You cannot possibly give the invalid credential, like the second scenario example if you see line number 9, right? So that's how the rule is going to get used. Okay, and the next one we can see, let's understand the keywords like the given, when, then, right? So we have already seen the given, when, then, right? So what exactly the given does? So given, it describes the precondition for your test or the initial context of the application. Okay, so multiple given conditions can be combined with and or but, right? So if you see, this is the given condition, right? Given user navigates to the application www.xyz.com. So this is the precondition, okay, or the initial context of the application. So that's how you write the given. And when, it describes an action or interaction which application user can interact or any other system can interact with the system, right? So what exactly you are doing, going to do, right? So what exactly is the action the user is going to do? So that is called as the when condition. That should be always described in the when. If you have the multiple actions to be done, right, for one particular scenario, then you can combine that with the and or but, right? So here if you see, we have the multiple given conditions, right? So given user navigates to the application, instead of repeating given again, we have given and user connected to the database. Okay, so then when specifies the action, right? So action is when login, in login page, user enters the valid username and valid password, right? So we have given the valid data as well, right? So that is the when condition, right? So then it describes the expected outcome because of the user or the system interaction. Okay, defined in when. So in step definition, we should always use the assertion to verify the outcome of the outcome of the your when condition, right? So when you do a action, you get some outcome, right? That outcome is mentioned in the then, and here we should use the assertions. If multiple uh, things we need to verify, so we can combine them with the help of and what, like that. Okay, so and let's understand and but, right? So this and but, multiple successive given and then can be replaced with and or but, right? So I can show you one example. Okay, so let's say there is one of the example, right? So given user opens Chrome browser, given user navigates to the application, right? If you see, first given is there, and second also one more given keyword is there. So second given keyword we can replace it with and, right? Given user opens the Chrome browser and user navigates to the application www.xyz.com, right? So that we can do. And we can get rid of the and when, and then when we have the successive keywords. Okay, and in that case, so here one more example, like one more thing, like here you have a given, and let's say we have when, right? You cannot get rid of the when by mentioning a and, right? Whatever given, suppose the keyword is given and you want to write one more given after that given line, in that case you can use the and condition. So when something you have returned, and again you have to write when, so that second when you can replace with the and, right? Similarly for the then, right? When you have writing then one line, and again instead of writing then, you can just put an and conjunction over there, right? So, and there is one more point, like when we have multiple points to be described as a list, then we can use star, right? So how to use star, I'll show you another example here. Where is the star example? Don't I have here? Here. So if you say, given user opens the Chrome browser, star QA server is up and running, star user has access to the database, star user navigates to the application. So these stars will be all other, like these stars will be considered as the given conditions. Okay, so instead of having, right, instead of having given and, right? So initially we learned, instead of having multiple givens, we can give a given and conditions. Okay, and now let's say we have multiple and conditions for this given, so these and condition now can also be removed, and instead of them we can give the star conditions. Okay, we can put the star like this. Okay, given user opens the Chrome browser, star QA server is up and running, star user has access to database, star user navigates to the application xyz.com. So here all these four statements are part of the given. So whenever it is going to get executed, it will be treated like given user opens the Chrome browser, given QA server is up and running, given user has access to database, given user navigates to the application xyz.com, right? So this is how you will use these keywords. So till now we covered like feature, example or scenario, rules, right? And then we understood given, when, then, and when to use and but, and how to replace them with the stars also, right? So that's what we learned in this session, and in the next session we'll be learning few more keywords like background, scenario outline or template, right? And data table, right? So those we will learn in the next session. Okay, so that's all for this class, guys. If you guys are really enjoying these sessions, I'll request you to subscribe to my channel, and please share this content with your friends and your colleagues so that they can also get benefited out of it. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment box. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So let's meet in the next class. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.